Welcome to the first episode of the Geiger counter, where we closely monitor world events and try to estimate how close you are to total atomic annihilation. So without further ado, let's dive straight into it. July 14th, 2024, the United States. President-elect Donald Trump was delivering a speech at a rally in Butler, Pennsylvania, when a lone gunman opened fire. Whether by luck or divine providence, the president-elect turned his head as the bullet was fired and averted certain death, a death which would have plunged the United States into a second civil war. July 15th, Iran. Former Iranian President Mahmoud Ahmadinejad survived an assassination attempt when his convoy driver lost control of the steering and brakes, causing them to collide with an oncoming vehicle. The same good fortune could not be said for his presidential successor, Ebrahim Raisi, who was assassinated not 2 months earlier when his helicopter mysteriously crashed, killing everyone on board. Both were harsh critics of Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, who has taken an increasingly active role on the world stage. July 28th, Russia. The Russian Federation celebrated Navy Day. Countless sailors were in attendance, along with delegates from each member of the BRICS economic alliance and their sympathizers. President Putin told them that he had warm feelings for their leaders before he condemned the USA for sparking another Cold War by moving Tomahawk missiles into Germany, which could be armed with atomic warheads and fired into Russia within the span of 10 minutes. As a result, he declared that the Second Cold War had begun and that he would send nuclear submarines to Cuba. Meanwhile, in France, Paris marked the opening of the 2024 Olympics with a parody of The Last Supper featuring a blue Dionysus, the Greek god of wine and drunken madness, in place of Christ, along with drag queens in place of his apostles. July 29th, the United Kingdom. 3 young girls were brutally murdered in a knife attack in Southport by a second-generation immigrant, stirring mass public unrest across the country. Peaceful protests and violent riots broke out across Southport and beyond, as the people showed their dissatisfaction with their government's open border, mass immigration policy. Mosques and Islamic shops were targeted by Islamophobic rioters, who vowed that they would take their country back. During the week-long protests and riots, Islamists take to the streets, armed with bats and knives, threatening pub-goers, journalists, and anyone who did not share their religious ideology. The anti-immigration rioters were arrested and faced swift and harsh sentences in an effort to put an end to the civil unrest and avert a civil war, some of whom were as young as 12. August 6th, the Eastern Front. After 3 years of waging a defensive war, Ukrainian forces break the Russian front line and launch their own invasion. Meanwhile, in Tehran, the Hamas leader, Ismail Haniyeh, was assassinated on Iranian soil when his apartment mysteriously exploded. In response, the Ayatollah accused the Israeli government of carrying out the attack, who have so far neither confirmed nor denied the accusation. In response to this attack, the Ayatollah has called for the destruction of Israel and has promised to exact a bloody retribution. Lebanon answered the Ayatollah's call to war and have raised their sacred flag of revenge as they began firing missiles into Israel. August 9th, France. The Paris Olympics hosted the female boxing championship, where audiences were greeted to 2 individuals housing the XY chromosomes, otherwise known as men in the medical community, punch each other in the face for the right to win a gold medal. The Algerian boxer Imani, who literally has man in his name, defeated Taiwan's Lin Yuting and took home the gold medal, much to the distaste of onlookers around the globe. August 10th, North Korea. Supreme Leader Kim Jong-un deployed hundreds of tactical missile launchers along North Korea's southern border, months after having declared that there was no hope of a Korean reunification, and that South Korea was the North Korean people's greatest military threat. The last month has shown a rapid acceleration in tensions across the globe between NATO and the BRICS alliance, while China's president, Xi Jinping, remains disturbingly quiet in the face of his allies' aggression. his attention firmly poised on the reunification of Taiwan. What is his grand plan? When will he show his hand? Find out next time on the Geiger counter.